Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? Today I've gone for tones of pink. As you know, I adore a wreath. And to get the wreath, I love the acetate circle masks, and I think there's so much you can do with them. So a little tip, get your little one out as well. And we're going to use confetti because I want a pale pink. And I'm going to start with, just want to check I'm sort of in the middle-ish, because you know once I start I just get carried away and I'll forget. As always, blend in the lid. Now, normally when I start inking here, but I want to be mindful on this occasion, I want my darker area here. So I'm just going to start with the ink there and then just blend it round. And the idea is I want to leave a space over here. So again, ink up, but start here. And then when I've got less ink, blend it round. And I'm not going to add too much colour. That's enough for the minute. But I'm going to come in with the smaller circle, add that over here. Now, I'm not adding any more ink onto my brush. I'm just going to use what's there already. And that'll just give me that lovely moon in the sky. Actually, I do want a tiny bit more. Again, I'm not re-inking. There's plenty on my brush. Lovely. Now, the other thing you need are the mini hill masks, or the hill masks, whichever you've got. And we're just going to add a couple of hills while we're at it. So, but it's important, keep your circle mask there. So we'll add one at the base because, again, I've got most ink on my brush and that's when I want the darker area. So again, blend in the lid. And if you're not sure how it looks, look, just lift up. You have to sort of, you know, be a bit multi-dexterous. Right, now this one I'm thinking I want to follow that line, look, of where the moon is, just so it'll look nice, follow that shape. So I'm not going to ink up again. I bet I've got plenty of ink left on my brush. And it's amazing how many different tones of one colour you can get by doing this. Yeah, happy with that. Don't need too much there. So if you look, can't pick these up. Right, let's tidy up so I can show you. We'll move these out of the way. We'll give them a wipe later. It's my non-slip mat. It's holding on to everything today. Right, file them on the floor next to Mr. Eric. If you look, what I think is lovely, we've used one colour confetti, but look, and I could even gone a bit deeper, but you get the different colour tones. And I've got to be honest, I love that. I think it's so useful. So now your fun bit, some stamping. Look through your stamps, and I especially look for my little sets. We've got quite a lot of sets with 4 stamps on. Now this one is a lovely one. So many favourites. So this is the Vine set. And the colour of Versafine Clair I'm going for first is Hawthorn Rose, because I thought this brings in, what I tend to do is get my Versafine Clairs out and look. And in my Versafine Clair, I've got Charming Pink, so that's my main colour. Baby Pink for my background colour. But then my Hawthorn Rose just adds that, like that almost violet sort of touch. But again, you can look at what tones you wish. So I'm going to come in. Now, what I do need to do here is tear myself a piece of scrap paper. So I'm going to look, I am funny, I'm going to look for a piece, look, where I've got some ink in. And I'm just going to tear myself. So what I'm going to do, this is going to be where almost my focal point's going to be, my butterfly. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to use this edge as a guide, look. And I'm going to start stamping. And I'm going to stop there. And then what I'll do is I'll stamp. Now, you could just go all the way around in one direction, but I think it's nice to just do something a bit different and have that focal point. Just want a little bit more on there. So you see how we've got it all coming from here. So what I want to do is add a little bit more stamping here, but I'm just going to put my copy of paper there because I'm not sure how far. Right, I want that there. So you see, we're almost making this almost like the main focal point here. This is my homage to flower arranging, and I'm just going to put a couple. I'm going to put a first and second generation and then another. So we've got this nice little grouping here. And then to me, that just gives me, I just like that sort of design. Now, what I've also gone for is a lamp, and this is off the lamp set. And there's a couple of little mushrooms on here as well. Again, a very useful set. And I'm going to stay with the same colour. And I'm just going to put that, again, I'm going to put my copy paper here because I'm not sure how far down. There. And just in case that would come further down. So I'll do the same with the mushrooms. And I'm using the same colour. And this, I just want to add a little bit of interest. And again, it's up to you what you stamp here. We've got so many lovely little stamps. Look at your minis as to what you could stamp here. Just going to add a little bit more there. Right, happy with that. And then when I was creating this, and you know me, I like to tell you the way my head works, it needed something here. And so what I've done is gone for, on the Fairy Charms, as this lovely almost harebell. Now, there are a couple of hearts on it, so you could use one of the hearts if you wish. I just thought for a change I'll go for the harebell. Got a bit of ink on there. Now, again, I'm going to turn mine just because I find it easier, but also I don't want to stamp up here, look. So I'm just going to use that copy paper. That little bit is so useful. And then, as you can see, just stops it there. And so I just love the way this is building up. So next I thought I'll go for my main stamp, and I've gone for this off the foliage set, and I'm going to come in with the Charming Pink. Now, if you remember, the little tip here is I'm going to make sure my stamp is clean. I'm just inking up in the corner so I get mainly this flowery bit, look. And then what I can do if I do that is I can just put some flowers, and I don't want to overdo the flowers. And what I tend to do, look, is move my card as I'm stamping. And that way I can see exactly. So if we start at this end, I find it easy to start at that end. I don't want one there because I've got my lovely harebell. And I'm just sort of alternating. Now I'm going to leave that there. I can always come back in and add some more if I want. But let's add the foliage first. And this is now it's from the winter foliage, but it doesn't just have to be winter. I love this. But there are lots of other foliages. Baby pink. But you just have a look and you choose what you've got. Again, I'm going to use the corner, look, to ink up so that I just get the edge. I don't want the long. And you just get used to using that corner. And can you see how I just go round filling in? And if I just stop a minute and show you. So can you see how this is filling in now and getting that nice shape? But without taking over too much. So if I look, I need one there. And then maybe one there, one there. But again, I'm going to turn it round and just start from here. And sometimes it just goes behind something and it just adds that little bit extra. All the time, I'm inking up in that corner so I don't get. So what's too much ink? Have you noticed sometimes I stop halfway through a sentence? Sorry about that. What I tend to do now is have a look and see how, and I think I need a little bit more there, but not too much. The same here. So again, just ink up in that corner. And we just want to look at that shape. We don't want to overdo it, but we want to see how we've got that lovely shape. And if anywhere you want a little bit more, this is the one. So here I'm thinking just a tiny to bring that. But I'm happy with that. I'm not going to add any more. And I think that in itself just looks beautiful. So we'll give it a blot. And what I did with my Mondelez pencils, and this is number 131, I just added a little bit of colour to the top. There, just on that lamp. I felt it just needed a little bit. And then my lovely mangaka or your Posca pen, we can just add some white highlights. So I'm just thinking, just here, that moon, just catch the top of these lovely mushrooms and just some of these leaves. Again, I'm not going to overdo it. Now, the other thing, just here, if I wanted to add a little bit more, if I wasn't keen on my stamping here, as it happens, I'm happy with that. But if I wasn't, I've just got my pastel pencils, look. And I could just come in here. If I want to add a little bit more colour, you could come in with your pink elephant ink on a number 3 brush. That would do exactly the same. But if you just want a bit more almost fuzziness, a bit more depth here, but I'm just going to come in with the pink and then just blend it. Just to give me that little bit of something there, that depth. And it almost just gives it a nice base. But as I say, if you haven't got your soft pastel pencils, just use either your confetti or your pink elephant with a number 3 brush. Now, I need to add some little splats. And what I found is, you know, the yellow glitter pen, the sparkle pen I use, that came in a set. And there's a lovely pink in there. So give it a nice shake. And as always, I'm going to hold it close, look. And I just want this pink. This is going to actually complete that wreath. So I'm going to add it just over where my stamping is, and I'm holding it close, look. I don't want it everywhere on the card. And I'm just directing it right round where that stamping is and to complete that wreath there. Now, it might be you want to leave a gap. I just wanted that lovely circle. And then to finish off with the mini flutter. So what I tend to do, as you can see, I stamp. Now, I've used the Hawthorn Rose, and this is picking the wrong one up there, the mini flutter stamp. And to colour it, what I've done is done a bit of a, you'll love this. So when it comes to colour, I've added a little bit of the pink in the middle. And then you know me with the clear wink of Stella, I like to do that almost faux glittery watercolour. So I just dragged that colour. But when I'd got to that stage, I almost wanted a little bit more white there. So what I did with my mangaka, or you could use your white Posca, picked up some colour on the nib, look, and just added it. Now, you can do this because obviously it's water-based, so it's fine on your Wink of Stella nib, but it's permanent when dry, so I can move it and I can mix it. Just clean the nib, but then, if I want a bit more sparkle look, my Posca, again, water-based, I can pick a little bit up on the nib. Can you see? If I just show you, oh, where's the camera? There, just so I've got some pink, I can come in and just add and just paint with that little bit of pink. I mean, if I hadn't got my Mondelez pencils, I could have done the whole thing with just the Posca. And then, there we go, check the nib, that's clean now. I've used all that pink. And I know that'll blend beautifully. The colours will go well together. and it's permanent when dry. And it's just such a lovely way of adding that subtle colour. Now, it might be you don't want to put a butterfly here. So what I'm thinking is, on the vine set, we've got these lovely flowers. You could stamp one of those and decoupage a flower. Or what about the little rose? You could put a rose there. Or you could make a bow out of your craft yarn. Or even put your sentiment there. Or the button. We've got the mini button stamp. You could stamp that. So many things, and it's up to you how you finish it off. I'm going to come in with the Signo Uniball, and this is the red, and just add, you probably won't be able to see the antennae, but for me, I know it finishes it off. Bippity boppity glue. Now again, if you want this raised, you could use foam pads. So what I'm going to do is just put my glue in the middle, put my butterfly on. Now obviously this dries clear, and it gives me a bit of wiggle time. So at least I can decide exactly where I want the butterfly. And I'm going to have the wings slightly raised. But again, to go in the post, I can pop them flat. But if you want to have them decoupage, we've got the 3D foam pads you could use. But I think that is such a lovely design. And you have got so many stamps that you could do this with. So many different combinations, but also colours. So my homework for you for this week is create some lovely designs in tones of pink and share them, please. And let me see what you're going to put in here. What scene? I mean, it could be you could use the wheelbarrow or the seats. Is it a magical place where you want to go and sit and just relax? You could add more butterflies round here. Do you know what? The creativity is up to you. So I'm going to leave that with you. Thanks as always for popping in. Thanks for joining us on here. You take care, look after yourselves. Much love and hugs from me. Bye for now.